The information this week I thought was actually pretty interesting, being part of one of the main generations that saw the rise of the internet as it is. Going from static internet that I remember in my childhood to the more interactive one of today, where you can get into everything, every type of media you can think of. In one of the early videos, it may have actually been the section introduction, there was a slide that had some words by Darcy DiNucci in 1999, and that actually was almost word for word what we have now, except for, the microwaves. Maybe there are microwaves that connect to the internet, but anyway, we can get internet just about everywhere else. We get it on our smartphones. You can hook up to it from your car even. So it's pretty amazing how much technology has changed in the last 20 years. Coming from a static internet that I remember in my childhood to one that's very interactive, and you can get into, podcasts and blogging, and you can upload your own things. You can upload videos easily to YouTube like we're about to do with our reflections here. I mean, there is so much you can do with the internet today that it is so easy to get sucked into it. Some of the other videos actually played off one another quite well, I thought. The first K-State video on the Web 2.0, where it was talking about the machine and how it actually uses us to learn from us and what we're doing on the internet, and kind of paying attention to what the users are actually doing. And I know there are a lot of websites that, they have the cookies and they track what you do and then they adjust accordingly. The other video by K-State actually caught my eye because I was actually there a few months after they filmed the video in spring 2007. I remember those classrooms being, 115 people, and you didn't really get a whole lot out of the lecture because it was just, you read something and they lecture, and you might be able to hear them from the middle of the room or not, or you might be able to see the chalkboard or not. But I know some of the lectures I sit in now that I'm going back to college, are actually a lot more interactive. I think the most interactive one I had 10 years ago was Death by PowerPoint, or Death by Slides. But there's a lot of lectures that have changed now. They're incorporating videos, smartboard presentations. The students are more involved with the actual material, and I think that definitely helps as far as an education standpoint. Let's see. Part of was it Professor Winch, I think it was, when he was talking to the Library of Congress, there were a couple of quotes that kind of stuck out to me when they were talking about the Numa on YouTube, and how the internet and society are creating more of like a celebration of new forms of community, where people from all across the world can come together because they all like to do the Numa. So, I mean, the internet is great for connectivity and creating a global marketplace and a global social interaction. Going into and what implications these have for me as a future teacher, I'm really excited to see what other kinds of technology we're going to have to use in the classroom in later years. I know, like smart boards, we have some of those at Fort Hays where I work, and where I'm also a student. But I've seen some of those at work, and they're really kind of interesting to watch as instructors are using them. And there's some really great YouTube videos out there, educational videos that can play into what you're doing. Podcasts, I actually went to iTunes and watched a podcast on Celtic history. So there was kind of an in-depth history of the political strife in the 1700s in Pictland, they called it. So that was interesting. I have never used a podcast before, and I thought that was pretty awesome that there's so many out there. Cloud-based bookmarking tool, I actually use Dig. I signed up for Reddit too. I wasn't really a fan of the way that Reddit was set up, but I found quite a few videos and articles on Dig that were quite interesting. As far as using Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram in the the preschool through 12 educational environment, I could see YouTube and maybe some blogging sites. Actually, having the students do their own blogs or upload their own videos to YouTube would be something I would hope to use. I'm going to be teaching secondary business education, so I would probably see using some students doing that. And that's really about it.